awesome morning, wonderful afternoon, and magnificent evening. This is Carla from MindPlore with Carla and Friends. And today we're talking about communication. And we have girl power today. Thursday, we'll have some men involved. But we're talking about communication and listening and using that listening muscle in order to respond and not just react. It's something we all need to improve. I know I need to improve it, let alone anyone else. Having said that, I am lucky to have Huma Tariq Huong. I can't get her whole name. She'll tell you that. And Shivali S, I don't know her last name, to speak on this topic. And I think I'm going to begin with Huma. Huma, first introduce yourself and then say your feelings on the topic, please.
Thank you, Carla, for having me here. Hello, everyone. This is Huma, and I am from Pakistan, and I am working in Rehan Foundation on Rehan trainings, where we want everybody to be digitally literate and earn at least 1 lakh rupees there. So today, I think this topic is so interesting. It's a bit similar to what we talked last time, and it should be discussed more often, that we can understand the power of listening in a way that we all know we all are sometimes ready to pay money to be listened, to be heard. That's what therapists do. That you can now realize how essential this topic is. I think, Carla, you have done a wonderful job, because through this way, we can make more proactive listeners by having this discussion.
Right. And that's what we need to grow, are people in all sectors of life and in everyone, to be able to say, I don't know, or I don't understand, before you say, oh, I don't like what's going on. Or you may not like what's going on, and that's perfectly fine. But there needs to be communication on it. And having people from 4 different countries, including me in the United States, gives us a good understanding of what this is about. Huang, are you there, or you looked like you were frozen for a moment?
Really? Thank you, Carla, and everyone. Yeah. So today, coming to the session, I'm so happy to talk and to share my opinion, my perspective. This is Huong from Vietnam. I'm a lecturer in a government university. I have been working here for more than 17 years with more than 10,000 students. Yeah, I really love talking with international friends, so that's why I am very excited to join your show, every single show, Carla. Yeah. Coming to the topic, listening to me, that's very important. And it's kind of basic fundamental skill for me and every people as well, everyone. I can say here, every single person, even my students here, we always remind each other that when listening, you are gaining a lot of benefits from there. And also, I can say that when listening, you can building up your mutual understanding, and also you can get to know our speaking partner and other people they are talking about. And also, I can say that almost successful people, they will become successful in life when they have a good listening skills. yeah, to communicate well with other people, not only in doing business. I mean, in as a daily basis, we also have to use this. It's come to handy and useful in life. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Why is it useful in life?
In my opinion, it's very useful because with listening, we can remove all kind of like conflicts and also that kind of misunderstanding, right? And also when talking, we can compromise, we can negotiate and make all things better. We can find out our good solution for the future. So if we don't listen to each other, how we can understand each other? So how to find out the common understanding, right?
Right. Very good. Shivali,
Yes, good evening.
we have your
Yes,
thoughts too.
Yes, I am Shivali from India. I've been, and still rather, a life skills coach, a communication trainer, as well as a holistic healer. And I think Huma and Huan have already kind of really elaborated on this topic. And I especially can connect to this very well because I'm dealing with this on a daily basis as I'm dealing with the customer related industries over here. So, listening plays a vital role in forging harmonious relationships. And I think that is the key to success in every aspect. And to be a good leader, like all of us want to be leaders in our own way, we have to be a keen listener first. And listening for me means a laser kind focus where, I don't think of anything else at that moment. And I focus completely on the person or the people who are talking to me or trying to communicate with.
Do you feel you do that all the time?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's a learning for me. And I think for most of us, we understand that is why we call it a skill. It has to be developed as well as to be practiced on a daily basis. And for that, if I talk about myself, I need to be first aware that, yes, I need to improve in this area. So firstly, I have to be conscious about it. Maybe someone can tell me also that, Shivali, I think you need to be a better listener. So that's okay. I should accept that. So one has to be conscious about it and then develop certain habits. That is why we are calling it the listening muscle. It's a listening muscle. So just as you exercise to keep your body fit, similarly, you have to exercise your brain in this matter. It needs to become conscious and then to practice it on a daily basis.
Okay. Knowing that, what are techniques that you use to help you begin to listen more effectively and efficiently? Huang.
Yes, for me, listening actively and also selectively is very important because every single day we are absorbing, we are listening to a lot of information from different websites, from different people, from different broadcasting. I mean, like we are overwhelming with information, advertising. So being like active and selective with your information, it can benefit you, and also which kind of information will suit you. So you have to select it, you have to connect all of them to make your decision better. Because with one single kind of information resources, you listen only from them, it can be make you imbalanced when giving your opinion or also making decision. So that's why in my life here, before going to one specific field or aspect, I need to collect and I need to listen to a lot of people, all kind of relevant people and relevant information resources. Yeah. So I have to collect all of them to listen to them.
Okay, when you're talking about listening, and it must be difficult for you sometimes, how long, let's start first. How long have you been speaking English?
For me, to be honest, talking and speaking English, that's my my big improvement in life when I can convert and transfer from my mind about English. What's still in my brain, I can say my mind. Yes, I'm not able to transfer into my mouth to speak up. Yes, how to let my words, my vocabulary from my brain into the words to tell you to talk about the specific topic like this. That's a long way to go. So to be honest, before joining Carla's show, I was wondering and I had a lot of hesitation when talking. Yeah, especially for the first day meeting Carla. I just kept silent. You know, because I was so nervous and I wanted to listen to her more to understand her. Yeah, to be honest, because what should I say and talk properly at that time? So that's why I need to use my ears more. And during listening to her, I I could absorb, I could understand and open my eyes. Oh, what she said, and also what information she wanted to transfer to spread. So after understanding her, I could communicate well with her day by day. I think so.
How long did it take you to feel confident speaking with me?
Meeting you properly 3 months. 3 months.
And how often did you come to the show? I believe it was 3 months. How often did you come?
I can say almost the first time, almost every single day. I ask you, please let me stay next to you to listen to you. Even I don't need to talk something, but I need to listen because I want to make my ears get familiar with your accent, the information, the way you talk, the idea you want to transfer. So that's why I want to be next to you to listen to you more.
And I remember that. And in the beginning, when I would say even hello to you, it was like, can't she at least say hello? And you begged me, and I remember you begging me, hey, I want to be at the show. And I was thinking, why? Now, I'm hoping, because this is such an important show, that people who are watching, as well as people on the panel, are sharing this out to their friends, family, and friends to be. Because I believe the lack of listening is why we have wars in the world. It's why there's conflict. I think that we all have that muscle inside that really wants to be peaceful, really wants joy to be there. And yet it somehow it gets lost. Huma, what do you think about what I just said?
I was enjoying your conversation and then realized how important is listening, because Huang now spoke very well just because she included herself in the environment and started listening to you. Now the result is right in front of us. So I think what becomes the barrier in communication is lack of mindfulness. When there is a noise outside, when there is a noise around us, we could hardly listen to ourselves. see, when there's all noise around ourselves, when we speak, we are even unable to listen to ourselves. So there is a noise in our own mind that we are not even aware of. So what happens when we communicate with somebody? So it becomes the one-way road, one-way traffic. We just hear half. We just hear half of the sentence, and we just hear, not understand. And we start thinking what to reply, and we just start just listening passively, not understanding it with empathy. So that's how the rest of the words go in vain. So for that to be really understood, we need to be proactive and mindful, being present, forget the past or future or your financial problem or your health problems when you talk or communicate with somebody. Only in that case you listen to somebody actively. And when you do active listening, you not only listen, you understand the person. And that's how a bonding creates, a relationship occurs.
Okay, that's true. It's learning to listen. But don't you think most people listen to respond, to react? Many people will, I mean, I was having a conversation before we went on air, and I really wanted her to say something differently from what she was saying. And she's kind of put in a situation, and I understand her situation, and I know what I need to do. But because I wanted to listen and hear certain words, I'm not even sure I heard what she was saying to me. This is a problem for everyone. And it comes up in situations all the time. There's your food. Sorry, I'm taking care of the dog too. What can we do to improve or grow this muscle that is so very important for communication to happen?
That's a very important part. So to listen and really understand somebody, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of the person we are talking to. There is what empathy is required. And it comes with practice. Every time we listen to somebody, we might not went through the same situation as the person right in front of us, but we can try to understand, okay, what would I have been doing if I were him or if I were her? By putting yourself in the situation, we can gain the muscle, because you are not seeing as your side, you are putting yourself into we are going to their position, their side, and now seeing the situation. Okay, now here is the see, if you see 6 from here, and the other person would say, no, it's 9, both are correct. Sometimes we just need to change the situation. We should switch the sides to understand somebody. I think not sometimes, it's always. We should always do the practice, and it comes with practice. Empathy, the essential.
But I thought you were done. Keep saying what you're saying.
All right. Right. Am I clear to you, by the way?
Yes.
Right.
No problem. I'm popping in quickly, and I need to be listening better. Go on.
Yeah. And another barrier which I feel in understanding others is there are so many factors involved. For example, the person who am I talking to could be junior of me, or maybe my niece or nephew, or anybody who is not as same status as mine. So in that case, we feel like we feel isolated, or we can say we feel distracted because we are not in the same situation as we are. And meanwhile, the other person who's talking is unable to express because they think we will not understand because we are not in that situation. So I think for practicing it, a lot of meditation or mindfulness is needed. And I think empathy, you should understand who the other person is talking to. Is it from the same background as you are? Is it from the same culture as you are? Is it from the same age group as you are? And you needed to handle each of them accordingly, differently. We cannot treat the same way. We cannot treat one person the same way as we treat the other person. So a lot of self-awareness, I would say, is required. Self-awareness, proactiveness, attention for active listening.
Do you think people understand how to be listening actively? And I do want to hear from everyone, but I'm curious what you say about this.
I think some of them do, and just because it's not been taught in schools, colleges, or universities, it's not in our academics, which I believe it should have been. That's why that's the reason we are not aware of the real practices. We just knew that communication means to talk, just blah blah blah, talk anything, right, whatever comes in mind, talk. But reality is communication involves a lot of listening. So I think a lot of people don't even know. That's why a lot of wars happen, because they hear, but they don't understand what you want from them, what I want from you. And they start killing each other. Just, of course, because of lack of communication. So I think people don't understand, and a lot of awareness is still needed.
Okay, I know in my English show, people come and they blah, 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 blah. And I may ask a simple question, just tell me your name. And how long has heard me go through this? Oh, I am an engineer. What is your name? And it takes a long time to get that tiny question answered because they have already decided, I have practiced how to say this, but I haven't practiced that. Huong, you've heard this happen. How does this go in your mind?
Yes, Carla. Of course, I have seen a lot of stories from the show. Yeah, thank you for giving me the chance to be next to you. I have seen that people, when listening to you, they were not aware that they should keep listening. Patiently. The whole idea what you have said. So in the middle, they stop and interrupt. That's why they are not able to catch the whole idea, what you want to say, you want to transfer or convey. So that's a way they can get distraction from their mind. Yeah. So they should keep listening for the whole idea you have shared. So that's why they can reply you properly. So of course, for the first time, we have made a lot of efforts to let them understand the whole thing, and also you have taught them that Skype lesson 2 years and a month. So I think that's very valuable lesson for them when listening to other people, especially for native speaker people for the first time. You never met, right? So you have to pay attention for patient to listen to the whole idea, the whole story you want to share. So that's only simple question, but because they interrupt in the middle, so that's why they unable to reply. Yeah.
What do you mean when you say 2 ears and 1 mouth?
Yeah, I have learned from you as well, actually, to be honest. 2 years, we have 2 years, yeah, to listen twice, even more than that, to understand deeply what our speaking partners, they are talking, they are sharing, to learn from them and to understand them properly. After that, we can reply and respond them, right, in a good way. So that's why good, making good communication. So
Okay. But explain that whole thing about 2 ears and 1 mouth.
oh yes, thank you. 2 years here, with my opinion, 2 years, when you are using your ears, you are learning new things, you are absorbing new knowledge. When you are knowledgeable enough, you understand the whole story. You can share, you can speak with the mouth to teach other people, to convey and express your opinion to other people. But before teaching, before letting other people understand you and know about you, you have to understand and listen to them first, so you can talk. Otherwise, you don't know what to talk and how to respond or talk properly. Yes, so that's why we have to use 2 years effectively. Yep.
Shivali, you've been listening and not
Yes.
talking. What's going
Yes.
on?
Yes. What I could firstly, the conversation that we had regarding, learning the language, asking when you're asking questions on your show, or Juan's experience of, feeling nervous. Now, this is something with which I deal on a daily basis, because some of the people that who come to me for the trainings, they are absolutely boys and girls who don't speak at all in the language at their home. Neither have they received education in schools where English was a compulsory language. Yet they want to join industries where, to get into those industries, they have to first undergo the interview process. And the interviews are mostly held in English language, especially if you want to go whether in the domestic or in the international sector. So when they say that, when I meet them for the first time, they always tell me, ma'am, but I don't know English. My English is not good. So I tell them, see, firstly, you have to develop the habit of listening to the language. Catch the nuances of the language. So I give them suggestions of maybe a radio show, a talk show, some music that they can hear. So they say, ma'am, we don't understand. I say, you don't have to understand at this point. You have to just listen. And as you will listen more and more, the vocabulary, the words, the nuances of the language will become a part of your subconscious mind. And so gradually, when they start practicing, maybe initially they're hesitant, they're not confident, that could be a barrier. They start actually speaking the language. So that is one thing which was really striking me. And secondly, what Huma was pointing about mindfulness. That's so very important, where you have to engage yourself in listening to the other person. You're totally absorbed in that person's talk. And I remember the little game my teacher would make me play. I'm sure some of you are aware of it, the Chinese whisper. What was the concept of the Chinese whisper? A sentence or a word was spoken, say we were 10 of us sitting together, and she would say, okay, you say the words and I have to hear it. You have to whisper it in the ear. You don't say it loudly. Or a sentence, and the last word of the sentence, the next person would have to take it up and make another sentence. Then when I would complete that sentence, so what was this? This is active listening, where you're totally focused on that sentence. Then only you can pick up the last word in that sentence, because each time the sentence is changing. So this was a kind of an exercise involved, where this mindfulness was coming to play. So it's a kind of a meditation, if you look at it. You're meditating on the words or the words of the person who's speaking. And the barrier that we have spoken of is because, as rightly pointed out, mind talk. Now, even when we are listening to each other over here, I'm sure we get carried away by our own thoughts at times. Okay, who am I saying this? So a mind talk is going on. So we need to control this. And this happens only through practice. And for that, you need to be first mindful that, yes, I'm doing this. Now I need to be more careful. Because I have to engage myself. And the last point that I would like to add here is that when we are speaking about wars in the world, that everyone is talking and putting their point forward, no one is listening to what's happening, is because the respect is not there. The respect for human life is not there. When you have respect for someone, it could be a stranger, you are willing to listen to that person. And that is the key to excellent communication. This is what I feel.
Now, excellent communication is a very difficult thing. How does it happen, and where does it bring us?
Excellent communication is when whatever is the purpose, the conversation must have a purpose behind it. Otherwise, it is gibberish talk. You can just keep on saying anything you feel like in fun. But if you want that conversation to have some productivity, like if I'm feeling hungry and I tell my mother, I'm feeling hungry, she understands that Shivali is hungry, she needs food. So the productivity lies in that. So every conversation becomes effective only when it is productive. It has a purpose behind it. Otherwise, it is mere talk. So excellent communication would mean where the purpose for which you had been making that conversation, it takes a productive form. It helps, if you would like to say.
Huma, you are nodding your head. What are you thinking?
I was just reflecting on an incident a few days back when Shivali was speaking and sharing about her students, what she advised to her students. And this has exactly happened some days back when, there was parties going on in my family. And there was one of my cousins came from Ireland and whole of her family. And when I was communicating to them, I feel like I am a beginner in English. So because my that's what I want to say, that my listening muscle was not there for that accent. Sometimes I needed 3 times to say to ask them to repeat, sorry, what you are saying, sorry, I didn't understand, can you please repeat that again? So that day I realized that I should bring up the muscle of listening to that accent, because they have different Irish people have different English accent. So that's how I realized that, and I think Huang and Carla could understand also very well, because they are teachers also, and they must have come across students from different background, that what we listen, we then we gain the muscle to understand it. That's what I was listening, and I recalling, reflecting on it, and nodding.
And true, what you're saying, when anyone comes and speaks to someone in a second, third, fourth, whatever language, there's always that confusion of whether they are really hearing what is spoken, because words take on different meaning depending on your experience. Sometimes when I'm having a conversation with Rehan and I think, oh, he understands English, I hope he's not hearing me say this. He has great English skills. And it's not just Rehan. I'm so sorry I brought this up, but it's everyone. Because one word can take a different meaning depending on your own experience. For example, if you live, and I keep on using this example of a house, But if you've lived in an apartment in your whole life, and all your friends are apartment livers, what happens when they go to a place and they see a big farmhouse? They don't know that's a house. They may think it's an office building. They may think it's something else, but it's actually a house. And we all have different experiences in life, and we all have different ways of looking at a house or looking at something from what the other person does. Communication begins when we say, what's a house? And they say, oh, my house is on a hallway, and there's 3 or 4 different houses in that hallway. Another person, what are you talking about? And the other person says, oh, I live in a house, but there's no one around for 30 miles. Totally different experience. Totally different communication. Huang, you're nodding your head, and I'm wondering what you are thinking.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, different people with different kind of experience when listening to other people, especially in my country. I can share with you that in the past, I mean, we used to use a method. Teacher would teach student and will talk all the time. Student will be listeners all the time. That's sometimes they will ask student and some people raise their hand, so they will let them talk. But nowadays, I can see that we are changing the way when teaching our students. So teacher will not be in the center. Student will be center. So they will talk, and the teacher will be good listeners to listen to our students. So that's a good way we can understand our students, what they are listening, what they are craving for, and what kind of requirements they need, and also listening to our society, community, what they want, so we can supply exact thing, and it kind of meet the needs of customer. Yes, that's the thing. All the thing when we listen to other people, we can meet their needs better. Yes.
Is it important to ask questions? Is it important to say, I don't understand?
Obviously, when you don't understand, you should say and let us know that I don't understand, right? Because we can communicate with each other well or not when we let other people know about understanding. When listening, you don't understand, we should let our speaking partner know that you don't understand, so they will use other way to elaborate, or they will explain with different words for you to understand. So we can build good a communication.
Do you really think and I'm playing devil's advocate in a way, and I want everyone to chime in here. Do you always know that you don't understand? Do you? Huma?
Yes. I think
You
I know.
always know that you don't understand? Okay, go on, Huma.
Yeah, when I don't understand, I ask that I don't understand. And it is also a fact that sometimes in some situations, I feel fearful or a bit of intimidated to ask questions. Depends which environment I'm in. But I feel it's always.
Go on, finish your sentence.
Yeah, but I feel it's good to, for understanding, not only listening, for understanding, we need to ask questions. And we should also, if we are in a group or we are in a one-to-one conversation, we should make such an easy environment for everybody that they don't feel fearful to raise a question.
Okay, the other day you said to me, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning it, but I feel a need, you said, I hope I did well with my broken English. Where's your broken English, Huma?
Because as we discussed in the beginning of this session also, that we are from different backgrounds, and English is not our first language. So sometimes there is a little bit of things that I don't understand, maybe because of accent, as I told you about my cousin. And in the last session, we had people from all different backgrounds. So there were some of the things I did not understand. Some of them, I searched some of the things, like if you remember the eclipse thing, I said, I don't know what this means.
Penumbra.
Yeah, there was something different. So I said, I don't know what does it mean. So I did not have much to say on it.
Right, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure I even said my question correctly. You told me you have broken English. And my response was, what are you talking? I don't get it. Why do you think your English is broken?
I thought it was because there was some vocabulary I was unable to comprehend. I searched them later. It happens every time.
So, okay, that's true of everyone. If someone said to me, what does supercalifragilisticexpialidocious means, I would, and I still don't know, I mean, from Mary Poppins, I would say, please look it up. Look it up in the dictionary because I don't know. Google it. So, and that's a word in English. That doesn't mean your English is broken. It just means you learned a new word. What's the new word you learned last time? One word only.
So you were asking what was the one word
What is one word that you learned either maybe from this conversation or another conversation?
I don't remember, but that eclipse thing, I still didn't know. He shared in the inbox, but I missed it because the conversation ended, the meeting ended, and I wasn't able to copy it. That was the word it was new to me. I did not understand that thing, eclipse thing.
But what made you feel your English is broken?
That's what I told you, that scenario that I'm talking about, exactly that thing.
There are words that are used with me. People say to me who may be in the United States, where I have to say, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I have no idea. That doesn't mean your English is broken.
And I think that's the beauty of diversity. Every time when we sit together, especially in MindPlore, it's my second session. So I feel there's a lot to learn in diversity, because when we don't face the differences, how we learn new things.
Right. And that's the point that I'm trying to bring up today. That questions are necessary. They're important.
Mm-hmm.
And unless we ask questions, we may not understand. I mean, people talk about NFLs and Coinbase currency. And I say, what do you mean? And they look at me like, don't you know? Everyone knows this. Maybe in your circles, but not in everyone's circles. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
It does. It definitely does.
Why? Explain what you're feeling, what you are feeling right now.
Because we are not so much like you were talking about, I think NFT or something, that's crypto things going on around, and people talk about it. We feel, okay, what is this? What is that about? Because we haven't used the thing, or we haven't researched it, or we never find it necessary. It's no more needed. It's never been needed for us. So we never thought to go and research on it. So when we listen to it for the first time, we say, all right, what's that thing? I don't know. The same happens with me when people talk about these things. I say, okay, what's that thing? Can you please explain?
And what happens? You go to explain, and someone may give you a definition, Huma, and
Yeah.
you don't understand that. Do you feel dumb saying, I don't understand? Or do you accept, okay, I don't understand, I need some help?
Yeah, I say I don't understand, I need some help, and everybody responds in a good way. Uh, Everybody explains. Nobody refuses. No, we are not telling you. So the point is, we don't ask. The problem arises, we don't ask what we don't understand.
Right. And we need, or is it we don't even understand that we don't understand? I was teaching a class last night with people you know, in fact, Huma. And I realized as I was talking to them, they couldn't say, I do not understand. And because they couldn't tell me I do not understand, I had no idea what they were talking about, or if they had any idea of what I was talking about. In the beginning, when I was just starting to do this English thing with Rehan, and this is kind of funny situation, I'm sure this guy won't hear. He would write to me, we did 5 by 5, 5 minutes for 5 days in a row. It always ended up being more than 5 minutes, and it went on for weeks. And one of the guys who's been with Rehan a long time ago would say, I have a topic for tonight. Can we talk about it? Not knowing that, not even thinking until later that he was preparing the topic. And he was preparing of what he was going to say, how he was going to say it. And he thought of some questions that I may ask, which made the conversation even more. I was believing him. And what happened was later, we were dealing on a much higher level of English. And I realized, wait a minute, he doesn't understand a word I'm saying. And he said, but, I said, you're not understanding me. And he said, but I took the course from the British embassy or something, the British Council, and you're saying you know more than they do? And I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you don't understand me. You can speak words, but you're not listening. It took a while for me to realize this. But the lack of understanding on his part and his lack of letting me know I don't understand kind of broke up this whole thing. because I didn't know. I just assumed if I say these words, they're going to understand and they'll be able to tell me. That ain't true always. Any response to that, ladies?
I don't know. Everyone, see, one thing is there, everyone is not supposed to know everything. It is not possible for a single person to know everything. So first point is there's no harm in asking a question, because whoever has an expertise in a particular field, he's an expert in that field. Okay. So if he has knowledge about it, say nowadays we talk about the Bitcoin currency and all that. So it's okay. Everyone doesn't have to understand it. So the person who understands it should be very open to it and said, okay, let me explain it to you. And he should have the ability to explain it in simple ways and not to make it sound very complicated and very learned. That's number one.
Well, what you're saying is true, except that we all think differently. We all have different meanings for words.
Yes.
So if you're using a word that I use in a different manner, communication breaks down right there, although I think I understand you. That goes for Huang, it goes for Huma, it goes for me too. Depending on how we use the word, whether that person really understands or does not understand, it's really inconsequential.
Yes, I can give one example of a word, travel, Travel. When people are making their professional CVs or resumes, they write very often in their hobbies, I love to travel. And when you ask them this question, okay, so which are the places you have traveled to? They're just mentioning their own city. Now, that's not the concept of travel. So then you have to make them understand.
For them, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, I understand what
you're saying. But for them, that is travel.
Yes.
That is travel. If you get up and you drive an hour and a half to get somewhere, you have traveled.
Traveled. Yes.
If you get up and even drive 10 minutes, you have traveled away. You are limiting the word travel to travel internationally or travel through your country.
But that's in their hobbies. The point. Yes, exactly. So travel, commute, there's several words which are kind of related to what should I say, a common category, yet each one can be meaning very different in various contexts. This is what I'm trying to say. In various contexts, then the words itself change. And that is the reason for the breakdown of the communication also. So now the question is that how to build the communication. It's about vocabulary building. It's about exploring. There is no end to it. And there's nothing called perfection in it. This is
right.
What I think.
You can only be the perfect you. Like one rose can be that perfect rose, but the rose next to it may be a little different. Maybe the rose next to it will never fully bloom, but this rose is still the perfect rose. Huang, what do you think? We're coming to the end now, so I want small ideas of what you are taking away from this conversation.
I enjoy a lot this session, and also that's very excited to know that listening can be understanding, can be communicating well, and can gain a lot of benefit from that more than other aspect like when listening. But people, I mean, young generation nowadays, they want to talk more. They want to talk all the time. Yes, I can see that they prefer talking than listening to listening. So that's the thing here. So that's why how to make them have good listening skill. That's also we have to make effort to let them know. So I understand that sometimes with the session you have to raise your tempo. Yeah, to let them understand. But actually, they to like clear and clarify all the thing like that. That's not easy. That's so challenging for us. So nowadays, so this section is very wonderful. I can see that, and also listening to all of your opinions and sharing here. I I really appreciate that. That like teacher, we have to listen to our learners, our participants and audience more before we want to share, we want to make them understand us, we have to listen to them. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Huang. Shivali, very quickly.
Well, listening is an art. It's a skill. That's why we are calling it a skill, and it needs daily practice. And it's the key to harmony in all aspects of our lives, whether we are speaking about our own families or the world scenario today. To be an excellent leader, for example, you have to be a good listener first. Thank you.
Okay, Huma.
Yeah, I think we all came to the point that we all need to not only listen to understand and to comprehend what everybody's saying. And I was also reflecting to Carla and Shivali's recent conversation, and a lot of incidents popped in my mind. And we could see that because of lack of communication and lack of understanding, a lot of wars happen. And interestingly, an incident came into my mind when I was reading a book the other day, that plane crashes, 80% of the plane crashes happen because of the lack of understanding between captain and the control tower, because they are from different backgrounds, and psychologists say that they don't listen but they don't understand what they say. So that way the plane crashes. After listening to the black box conversation, it wasn't not a technical error. So hence we realize that how important it is to practice certain things. Just like we eat, just like we sleep, just like we study, we should learn the skill of how to listen and understand, comprehend each other's words. That's what we need to bring up the muscle for.
Okay. So this muscle that we're talking about is extremely important. It's something that we all forget, that listening is as important as talking. I say that all the time on my English class. I said it last night. It wasn't a live session because there's a lot of errors when it comes to being noise and other things. But, people think, oh, I'm going to respond and I can speak English. You can say words in English, but are you actually responding? Are you actually listening? Sometimes I think my dog and cats listen better than I do. Although I'm mad at the dog because he's not eating as well as I want him to. But they're listening, hearing, and relating to us. So, having said that, what is more important, speaking or listening? Remember, when you are speaking what you know. When you're listening, you're learning something you don't know. I'd like everyone to just quickly answer that question. What is more important? It's a trick question, I know. We'll start with Shivali. Very quickly, Shivali. What is
Well,
more important, speaking or listening?
listening is more important, I think, because it helps me to speak better also. Like if I want to convey something to someone, then I should be listening to the other person also. It is a two-way system, actually. That's why it's a tricky thing. It's a two-way thing. This is what I
Okay.
feel.
Huang, what do you feel?
For me, listening is very powerful, and it's give me a lot inspiration and also motivational story and sharing. Listening to other people make me happy and also understand people, and I can help people more. I can communicate with them well. That's my successful things in life. I can say when I am a teacher, if I understand my learner, my audience, I can make a good presentation, and also I will support my community, my society better. So when listening, successfully, I can be a good speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Huma.
I think listening is as important, I think more important than speaking, with the combination of not listening to words only, but also listening to the body language. How is my eyes speaking? How is my hand speaking? How is my body speaking? How is my smile speaking? So with the combination of whole words and the body language, only then we can understand others better. And you are right, it definitely adds new things, because when we listen, we are allowing ourselves to learn more, because we are listening that we don't know. When we are speaking, we are sharing what we already know.
True.
That's correct.
So, both are important, but in order to have a real good conversation, would you say listening comes first? And speaking to respond instead of react is also important. Yes, no, maybe.
Obviously.
It's
Okay, with that, believe it or not, we have been talking for about an hour, and it's time to say goodbye. MindPlore will return tomorrow not tomorrow, on Thursday, hopefully, at 9:30 p.m. Pakistan time and 12:30 p.m. New York time, and we will discuss listening and speaking. And with that, we're going to wave goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Ladies, stay.